Any other questions?
Hi, I want to clarify something you said. Given the testing used in our problem-solving course and in booking and for pretrial purposes, when you said urine analysis is useless, did you mean to tell how much the person consumed or just the presence? I just want to clarify that because we use urine testing when people get locked up out of problem-solving courts.
Well, there's a difference between urine testing on pretrial and bond conditions and probation conditions. Clearly, it's different it's valuable for a different reason for the court in that regard. But in regard to arresting somebody and having an opinion whether or not they're impaired, it's scientifically of no value. It's not Doug Murphy talking. That's somebody that really knows what they're talking about, like the scientist.
Your Texas Court of Criminal Appeals has astonishingly good cases, not just in your area, but in other areas of criminal procedure. In order to explain it to judges when we're using opinions from that court, do opinions from that court, can they be appealed to the Texas Supreme Court? And is your Texas Court of Criminal Appeals a political court, or is it not subject to elections?
Don't get me started here. It is political court. They're partisan elections. Our we have two Supreme Courts in Texas. The Texas Supreme Court for civil and the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals is our criminal Supreme Court. So only where it goes from there is SCOTUS.
How often do they run?
I'm sorry?
How often do they have to run the judges in that court?
That's every 4 years. Yeah, and there's no qualifications other than just the mandated certain number of years as a lawyer. We've had a number of judges, some I don't know why they're running for that bench, that have never practiced criminal law, not as a prosecutor, not as a defense lawyer, not even handled a case or done a plea, and they're on that court rendering opinions that they don't, it's astonishing.
Do you try many juries without an expert, just by cross-examining their DRE? And if so, what's your experience been with cross-examining the officers with some of these articles and saying, officer, are you familiar with this article? And you would agree with me that studies show X, Y, and Z, or do you find that they're just,
That's a good question. I generally don't have the benefit of having an expert. Like probably a lot of you are the same way. You don't have that luxury. But when I cross-examine on this stuff, it's like bowling. You got to set the pins up before you can knock them down. And so I spend time saying, I know you read this article. I know they trained you well. And you rely upon this article. Build it up so that way you can set it down. You get them to recognize it is a learned treatise, that type of thing. When they figure out what you're doing, and here's the problem I have with DRE, I call it the baby rattlesnake rule. Baby rattlesnakes have a lot of venom, and they don't have the discretion to know when to use it. So they bite all the time. They're very dangerous. Whereas an older rattlesnake is going to pick and choose when they're going to bite, save the venom. And that is kind of like experienced police officers. I'm not trying to say they're all snakes. There's a lot of good ones out there. But I struggle more with the younger rookie cops that come out of the Tony Robbins seminar. I mean, they're just frothing at the mouth, ready to go. They're scary to me. And so those are the ones that you might need an expert, whereas the more experienced ones are going to be more likely to admit, hey, there's some pitfalls here. It's not an exact science. And there have been some officers over the years. We've got one that's just about to retire. He's going to be a consultant. And he's finally now confided in me that he kind of thinks DRE is bullshit.
Time to retire and become a defense expert.
Yeah, he'll be great. Hey, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Doug.